Hello, young artists. Miss Stewart here with a Tell Me About It Tuesday. Today we're going to talk about connections and interpretations. We're going to be looking at three specific pieces of art and how they are connected and how the interpretation of those works are connected to the other pieces. So, our three pieces today are Charging Bull, a sculpture, Fearless Girl, also a sculpture, and then a tiny lace collar that was recently added to the Fearless Girl sculpture. So the collar we could categorize as a craft or a piece of fashion, but also that falls under the category of art. So let's look at these, starting with the bull. So the bull was first installed in New York in 1989. It is made of bronze and is quite large. It's 11 feet 2 inches by 16 feet 1 inch. And if you look at it in the top photo, you can see its relationship in size to the humans around it. It has quite the presence. So I want you to picture the best you can that you are there in front of it and able to walk around all sides. And knowing only what we have already discussed, I'd like you to try and interpret what the meaning of this sculpture would be. So, what you know is its size and that it is placed in New York's financial district. So remember, there is no wrong answer in an interpretation, but you should support your answer. So you're giving what you think it means and then adding your reasoning as to why you are assuming that meaning for this piece of art. So I'd like you to go ahead and pause the video and do a written answer to the question on the screen. All right, very good. Our next piece is called Fearless Girl. It is also a bronze sculpture, though much smaller. It is only 4 feet in height and was installed on March 7th, 2017, facing the bull. Now, that date is important to the context because it is one day before International Women's Day. So, knowing only that, I would like you to kind of concoct the story that you think these two pieces tell together. So again, imagine that you're there. There's a 4-foot tall girl, a very large bull. What story do the charging bull and the fearless girl tell placed together? Also answer what you think if her story would be different if she was placed somewhere else. Now remember, support your opinions here. Give us some reasons as to why you're thinking what you're thinking. There's no wrong way for you to interpret this, but you need to explain your reasoning behind your interpretation. So again, you're going to pause the video and write your answer. All right, and now we come to our final piece. This is a lace collar that was installed just yesterday onto the Fearless Girl statue. Side note, she is now facing the New York Stock Exchange. She is no longer facing the bull. In December of 2018, she was moved and faces the stock exchange. So yesterday, she was given this collar. And I want you to think about what other contexts you have seen a collar like this, and what might you interpret to be the meaning behind the placement of this collar on this little girl statue. So go ahead again, pause the video. Remember, there is no wrong answer, but try to be descriptive and explain your answer. Okay, now I want to give you a little bit of backstory on each of these pieces and how they came to be and what they mean in relationship to each other. So the first one has a fun story. It was created by Arturo D. Morica, and he created it in a warehouse in private without telling anybody. And he started working on it after the stock market crashed in 1987. He finished it in 1989, and then him and his friends, they rented a crane and installed it in the streets of New York in the middle of the night. And he said this was his present to the citizens of New York, and it represented the power and resiliency of our country. So there's a lot more we could talk about with that, and it might be the topic of another Tell Me About It Tuesday, but I will also include some links for you. Make sure you have some links that you can do your own research if this intrigues you. All right, so then we have Kristen Visible, and she is the creator of The Fearless Girl, and this was commissioned by the State Street Global Advisors. So commission means that somebody hires an artist to make something specific for them. And their reasoning with this was to encourage large financial companies to hire more women in positions of leadership. So I'll make sure you get some links on more about that if you're interested. But here's where the story gets even more interesting. So once it was placed facing the bull, the artist of the bull did not like this placement, and he actually hired an attorney to help argue that he thought this placement was a violation of his artistic copyright. He felt like the placement of the girl changed the meaning of his sculpture. So that can also be another topic for discussion in a different Tell Me About It Tuesday. Okay, so final little piece. This image on the right is a photograph from the New York Times newspaper where this ad was run yesterday. And if you look real close, you can see it says, "Here's to the original" at the top. And it's a picture of the sculpture of the girl with the lace collar. So what they're referencing is Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, also known as RBG. So she passed away on Friday and was the second woman to be nominated to the Supreme Court. She has become quite popular lately if you follow pop culture and politics and history. And so she has done a lot for women in our country. And as the second woman to be nominated to the Supreme Court, she wanted to add some femininity to the uniform because since it was traditionally a role for men, the robes were designed to showcase the tie and shirt of the men. So she added this lace collar to her uniform. And then over the years, she has had many, many collars that actually have become symbolic pieces of art on their own. They actually were telling of her opinion on a topic before she even spoke about it. So the collar on the left is her most popular collar because it was her dissent collar. So if she disagreed with an opinion that they were going to give in the Supreme Court, she wore that to represent her dissent or disagreement. Now, if she was going to deliver an opinion that she agreed with, she wore the collar in the middle. This is her majority opinion collar, stating that she agrees with the opinion that the court is delivering. And then on the far right is the one that she kind of wore every day and was just her favorite collar for its simplicity and femininity. Now, we kind of covered a lot, but it also opened up a lot more doors. So It leaves us with connections for future Tell Me About It Tuesdays. We can talk about copyright laws as they relate to artists and art. We can talk about fashion and politics and art. And it is my hope that you will come to realize the interconnection of all these things and how exploring art and fashion and symbolism, how that can help you better understand life and history. And that when you study any of these topics, it's enhancing your understanding and knowledge of all the rest of these topics. So if you love art, I hope you will come to realize the importance of also learning history and politics, music, everything else connects with art. And if you are not really yet a fan of art, but maybe you are a fan of science or history, I hope that you will come to realize how art is interconnected with all of these things, and having a better understanding and appreciation of art will actually enhance your knowledge in all these other subjects. So that is it for today's Tell Me About It Tuesday. I'm going to make sure you have access to all these links over here on the right so you can explore some more of the topics covered on your own. And I will see you again next Tuesday.